Hello, everyone. It is Isimemen Joby, business and career growth strategist and founder of Unfulfilled, an incredibly transformative career coaching program for Black women and women of color who want to land their dream jobs, skyrocket their salaries, and live rich, fulfilling lives. Now, today I have the one and only Ashley Ferguson. Ashley, thank you so much for being here with me today and sharing what is going to be a phenomenal story and journey.
Of course. No, I'm happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Ashley, tell us just a little bit about yourself. Tell us what you do. Tell us years of experience.
Okay, so I am a director and senior counsel for a clinical trial turned kind of early stage pharmaceutical company.
Okay.
And I have been overall in the legal industry for going on almost 7 years now.
7 years. So you're a director, 7 years in the game.
Yeah, and I actually got that director title 2 years ago. So I got it 5 years into the game.
Sheesh. Okay, yeah. This is good. So Ashley, would you say, and you know, Phil, we always own the truth. Would you say you are a top performer? You are a go-getter? Like you are that woman?
You know, it's funny. I feel like before Fulfilled, I would have felt so afraid to just own that. But no, I am. I do my work, I learn my stuff, and I apply a lot of intense thinking and analysis to everything I do. And I feel like I bring gravitas to everything I'm doing.
Come on now. Come on. So Ashley, tell me, it's interesting. You have been working for 7 years. You're clearly doing very well in your career. And there was something that made you say, something is not right. I need some support. So can you talk us through, before Fulfilled, what were the challenges you were facing and encountering in your career?
So I think it came in a few different forms. So one was that I think even with my promotion, as early as it was, you know, relatively speaking, I remember feeling for a long time like I had already earned it, you know, like I'd earned it before it came. And I found myself just feeling a lot of inner turmoil, kind of in the form of resentment, you know, about feeling as if I was being overlooked in some way for longer than I should have been, feeling like even though I got the promotion, I should have gotten it sooner. And so there was I think for me, I felt as if my worth wasn't being seen.
Yeah.
That felt like an issue. Then the other piece too was that I had actually been working in a law firm before coming to the company.
Okay.
I took a pretty significant pay cut to join the company on that basis that I would be learning more, I'd be growing more, and I would have a better work-life balance, you know, trade-offs that would eventually be worth it. I think even with that though, I had felt like I was just not seeing though the salary start to pick back up in the way that I felt it should.
Yeah.
And so even though it's not like I was making nothing, I was still not in a place where I felt like I was earning what I should be earning.
Yeah.
But the real underpinning problem for all of it, though, was that I was still questioning my own worth. So then as much as I was looking and saying, I don't feel like I'm being seen properly, I don't feel like I'm being evaluated properly, there was also this layer of fear underneath it that said, okay, but maybe I'm actually not worth any of the things that I think I'm worth or hope I'm worth.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the reason these things are happening.
And what is so interesting, Ashley, is you have the degrees. You were making great money. Even when you took the pay cut, you were still making pretty significant money, right? Doing well, being a director and being at the company you're at now. And you still, and I think it's cool that you were still honest about feeling like the value I bring to the table and what I'm making do not match. And a lot of women of color who are doing well do not give themselves, doing well financially, do not give themselves the space or the grace to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm making great money. I'm making more money than anyone I know, honestly, or my family or my friends, or more than I thought. But I'm still not happy. I'm still not connecting the dots. There's still imposter syndrome happening. There's still a lack of confidence. And actually, you guys should be paying me more. So I think that first step around, I'm just going to be honest, I'm still not fulfilled and happy, I think is extremely powerful.
No, totally agree. I think for me, it really was tension for exactly the reason you laid out. You know, I could look and say, but relative to so many people, look how much I'm making. I feel like I'm in a privileged position. But I also think at that time, I was calling my position privileged without giving myself credit for the work I had done to get there. And so I was just looking and saying, oh, but a lot of other people don't make this much. And just not factoring in the fact that a lot of other people also don't do what I'm doing, you know, or haven't taken the journey I've taken, or haven't made the sacrifices I've made.
Yes.
And so that also laid into it, because it was almost like I had this sense of guilt for being successful. Ooh. And feeling even guiltier for thinking there was more success for me to get.
Can we stop right there? and thank you. I love this, because you're giving people language right now. Like, people are like, but wait, I feel guilty because I'm successful, but I should be more successful. And I feel guilty about wanting to be more successful and wanting more money. What is wrong with me? And many people just stop there. And they live in this conundrum. And then what ends up happening is their work product starts to slip, because it's only so long you can live with that before it starts oozing out into your work and out of your pores. And before that happens, you're like, well, wait, I need to get some help, because this isn't okay.
Yeah.
You talk to us about that piece where you were like, okay, light bulb. You know, you meet me at an online training that kind of popped up on your computer.
Look, that's
so funny.
Yes, that truly was God. That was everything. That was just him saying, okay, here you go. But so the path to that had looked before like me saying to myself, okay, clearly something is wrong with my thinking, right? But not being able to kind of pinpoint what that was. And I'd started kind of really just asking God, right, for help, and doing work kind of on my own, thinking through, trying to find what the roots were of that kind of inferiority complex and all of these different things that I knew were holding me back in some way. And I think that work was really helpful in that it showed me, right, that a lot of the things I was kind of basing my assumptions of inferiority on weren't even real. And I was having those realizations for myself. And those were really big and those were really important, but I still felt stuck. I felt like even though I saw that, I wasn't getting the chance to translate it now into, okay, and now I feel completely different, you know, and now I feel freed from these things. And so what ended up happening was one day I literally was just, I had my phone in my hand and I just pressed the LinkedIn app. All I pressed was the app. Next thing I know, I'm just literally sitting in a room in this group, Black Women Talk Tech, listening to you and 3 other people talking about how you can level up, how you can actually be successful. Yeah. I didn't even know LinkedIn had live webinars, had never heard of Black Women Talk Tech. So I don't even know how I was in the group following anything. It was one press of a button and I was sitting in this room and I just had to look up and say, God, okay, this is obviously you, you know? So I came, and I think I even came in almost at the start of it. So I sat there through the whole thing. And I remember just really being impressed by how you were the only person who kept bringing back the success talk to a life level thing and not just a money thing. Because there's so many people out there telling you, okay, earn more money, jump jobs, do this, do that, you can level up, whatever. But there was not that talk about saying, yeah, you can do that and you can do it and still have your life. You can do it and not assume that you're selling your soul to these people because now you're getting paid more. And I think too, you had also pointed out, getting paid more is not the end all and be all, because if you sacrifice your happiness in the process, what are you actually gaining? And so when you were talking, I thought to myself, this is the person I need to be hearing more from. This is the person I need to get in contact with. And I saw that you had your website in the name, in the footer of your page. So I said, okay, God, look, I'm at a loss as to how I'm here. I mean, I know it's you, and I know it wasn't me. So I'm just going to go on this website and I'm just going to see what happens. And you just lead me as you feel you should lead me.
I think that is the best story ever. How to just attack your phone. And we come and we have this rich conversation about
Yeah.
you and your career and what does a fulfilled life mean to you and what does it look like and what will it take? And you come in the room and you start this journey of fulfilled.
Mhm.
Talk to us about that journey. What did it look like? What impacted you the most? What were some of the wins and ahas for you? Just talk to us about that fulfilled journey.
So I think for me, the biggest impact that it had was, it really was just that mindset shifting.
Yeah.
It was getting it, I think what it really was getting me to a place where I could feel comfortable speaking to my own success.
Mm,
Because for such a long time, I did not feel like I was allowed to just declare myself successful.
mm,
And I know that that's rooted, right, in the inferiority stuff. It's rooted in also just toxic humility, right? This idea that speaking lowly of yourself somehow is what it needs to be humble.
yeah.
And it isn't, right? But it's marketed that way. And you're supposed to be this kind of demure, hidden person so that someone else can see you and tell you that you have worth. And that can be the way you realize yourself. I was living that kind of lie. And I think Fulfilled really just kept drilling into me this idea that, look, you need to be able to stand up for yourself and say to yourself that you're successful so that you can say to other people and mean it. Because saying it to other people just to say it is not going to have any impact if you don't believe it yourself. And I think that, right, just the way that you and Coach Keisha just kept drilling us and drilling us and drilling. Yeah, every single time I would have, I would ask some question. And I remember you guys would call me out every single time. I would ask some question and you would say, you know the answer to this. Why are you asking this? We're going to tell you the answer anyway. Even, yeah, exactly. And even moments like that, right? Just having that kind of stop the nonsense. Let's get back. You know this. You know what you're saying. You know what you need to do. You know these things. All of those moments that happened throughout the whole journey also just kept reinforcing to me that idea that, I do have it. I do have whatever it is, whatever that thing is that I need to be successful. I have the tools. I have the mentality. I'm able to think through these things. I'm able to come up with these things.
Yeah.
I'm able to be a leader in the way that I think.
Absolutely.
I was you guys both drilled into me the fact that that was true, and then also helped me kind of play it out, when I would be asking these questions and when you would say, you already know what this is.
Yeah.
You just said the answer,
And I love because it was a play on, or the two things played off each other. It was the pep talks, like, Ashley, you got it. And let's reverse the mindset junk. Where's this coming from? Why are you thinking that? And you being honest, and then us coaching you, and then you getting step-by-step strategy on how to approach key stakeholders in your company around certain topics, that navigating. Because one thing I find is women of color often don't understand the rules of engagement. And a lot of times they say, oh, I'm not kissing anyone's butt, and we're not telling you to. I'm not lying. We don't want you to do that either. I'm not pretending. No, we're not saying do that either. Every system, every relationship, there are rules of engagement. And when you don't know, that's when things get awkward. That's when you step on people's toes, whether it's a friendship, whether there's a marriage, whether it's a work relationship. And we often had strategic conversations. This is what you're going to say, and this is who you're going to say it to. Oh, and this is what they said back. This is the email. This is how you, and so you were able to couple the mindset shift. And now you're starting to show up differently. You're not backing down, but you don't have an attitude. You're not angry. You're stating facts. You're having powerful conversations, and people are coming back. Like, you had a really cool conversation where a leader actually said, you know what? I'm going to turn around and do that a little differently because you brought something to light, Ashley. Thank you so much, without going too deep into detail. And leaders don't usually do that. But you were so poised in your interaction and conversation, and you took the advice so well that you didn't have to say much. The person turned around and said, oh, wait, let me fix that thing right there. And it was beautiful for your career. So I love how you were not ashamed, even though you're a director. You're not like, oh, I should already know this. You're like, coach me. This is what they're saying. What should I say now? This is what I want to say. What y'all think? And it was beautiful. And then you started to see so many things happen. Can you talk to us, Ashley, about the wins you started to experience in the workplace, the wins you started experiencing yourself, in your relationships, and all of that?
Yeah, sure. So two things come to mind. So one is just the incident you're referring to, right? Where I was very much mischaracterized by someone. And it got escalated to this point where this leader was having this conversation with me about it. I think me before Fulfilled, me of the past, would have approached that conversation with just the presumption that I was not going to be heard, the presumption that I was somehow at fault, even though countless reviews showed me that that was just not the case. And the presumption that somehow, even just having the conversation is going to lead to this horrible ending where I would lose my job or, some catastrophic thing would happen. But with Fulfilled and with getting to that place where I could look and say, well, no, if I'm wrong, I'm really going to need someone to give me some evidence that shows it rather than making the presumption. And then asking, right, in that conversation, essentially politely asking that person to prove themselves and watching that person not be able to. Ooh. And then watching them capitulate and say, actually, I'm sorry you went through this, and I'm sorry we approached you about this in the first place. Was huge, because even following that, they asked if I wanted to kind of speak to the person who had started things rolling. And I said, no. I said, you can feel free to do that yourself. But as for me, this ends here. And even just being able to say that, right? To say, I'm not going to do the thing that you obviously want me to do, because as far as I'm concerned, from a moral standpoint, from an ethical standpoint, I shouldn't have to. And therefore I won't. Like that, being able to sit in that kind of power just in and of myself was a really big moment. Yeah. And then the other piece too was this Fulfilled it created the first time I ever actually asked proactively for a salary increase. I had never done it before because I'd always been of this mindset that if they see my worth, they're going to proactively tell me, they're going to proactively do something about it, they're going to give me this raise. And so when I wasn't seeing that happening, there was that fear piece of me that was thinking, well, what if they actually just don't think I'm worth it? And that's why I haven't gotten it. But then as we continued on, as we, are doing the drilling and you guys are asking me and you were kind of looking at me like, what do you mean you're not sure if you're worth it? And you encouraged me, right, to do the practical side of things, do the research, don't just come up with a number, base it in something, ground it. I was able to then start the conversations, have, talk to the right people, kind of situate things so that I could get to a place where I was able to then craft my argument. And I think what was really the two things that were most fulfilling in that exercise were the fact that, one, I asked for a number that felt astronomical, but that I knew was based in reality, And then two, I didn't actually have to argue for my worth. I just stated it. I didn't say, oh, I did XYZ projects. Here's my laundry list of accomplishments. I just said, look, I've been a key contributor in this company the entire time I've been here. And that was enough. And for that to have been enough, just it also showed me, right, that a good amount of what was holding me back was my own self-perception. Because the minute I was willing to just speak to the fact that I was worth it, they responded.
So many lessons here. Actually, before I share my thoughts, would you like to share like what that increase looked like? Because most people don't get great increases in their current role.
Yeah.
But you did.
Yeah. I got a 20% increase in my salary.
Wow.
And that was stunning to me because I had actually asked for 30%, thinking, I asked for it thinking, you know what, look, YOLO, and also the numbers back it up.
So go figure this out amongst yourselves.
Yeah,
But that's the
yeah.
number I'm sharing with you.
That's the number I'm giving you. I'm not going to negotiate against myself. This is the number I'm throwing out. Yeah. And they came back meeting me more than halfway. And for that, like you said, right, to be an internal thing was huge because it showed me, it validated what I thought, right, about my own value.
Yeah.
And let's be real, it showed me I can get more somewhere else.
So tell them not to play with you.
That's, yeah. Yeah.
So many lessons. The first set of lessons, I know, you and I both know, and you're a lawyer. I'm sure you work with a lot of people that don't look like you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of men, a lot of people, we know. And oftentimes we know there is systematic racism, sexism, all the isms are at play. We will never downplay that. One thing I tell women in Fulfilled is, listen, what I'm going to focus on is what I can control. I am not going to tear down institutional racism in one day.
No.
But if there are Black women leading, if one person somewhere in this world has done it, then I can do it too. And if they haven't, I can be the first.
Yeah.
But most of the time, there have been people that have gone before us that have done it. So she can navigate. Could it be that women that look like us can also win in these spaces? Can also be welcomed, can also be valued. And if we would focus less on what's against us and focus more on what's going for us, the way we have the conversations, I'm about to throw this whole computer, would change. Because when your subconscious is focused on who's against me, I know all of them are racist anyway. And to be really fair, Ashley, a lot of people are struggling, right? A lot of people have biases. That's not even a question. We know that. But if you can ground yourself in your work and then amplifying your work, having sponsors, building quality relationships with the right people, sharing strategically your thoughts without I know everyone doesn't like me, so let me bring this energy into my email and all that. I promise you, if you can move that out of the way and you're at a company where people's brains work, because there are some places where you'll go and they just gonna be crazy, right? But if you can do these things with the right guidance, which is the power of coaching, oh, you can soar. And if you double down and focus on your strengths, regardless of you're this, you're that, the other, when people see talent, they can't deny it. And that's one thing we talk about in Fulfilled, be undeniable. Like literally, they would have to kick you out. They would almost have to say, it's because you're a woman. Yeah, I have to confess. Because everything on paper, you're undeniable, and you are undeniable, and you're poised, and you're fire, and you do good work. And so when it's time for you to have these conversations and you're setting the boundaries with all due respect, they can't butt. And you're asking for money, they can't butt. And so, yes, we know there are places where no matter what, they're still going to act crazy. But the power of these conversations is this. There are places that will honor you and see your value and uplift you. And you can have sponsors that come in all shapes and sizes who can sit with you and make sure that you do well in your career. And we want you in Fulfilled to find those places because you can flourish. You absolutely can still flourish in corporate. And people don't know that. And we're here to set the record straight. And so just to see you navigate that, like, because you could be at another company, right? A lot of people come to Fulfilled to find another role, but you leveled up, empowered up in your current role, and you're better for it. And on top of all of that, you are now unleashing a whole nother side of you. Do you want to tell us about that? Because you are starting to run in your gifts and your calling. Can you talk about what else has been unleashed as a result of this work?
Yeah, honestly, it feels so weird. I feel unrecognizable to myself. I really do. I really do. Because it's like there are ways I know I spoke to myself before, that just don't feel right now. And it's not to say, oh, every day I wake up and just think I'm the greatest thing ever. No, of course not. But my presumption is that I'm qualified. My presumption is that I'm capable.
That's where you start. That's where you
That's
start.
where I'm starting. That's not what I'm aiming for anymore. You know, now I'm aiming to say, and you can stretch into all of these different things. And I think even now, since then, I've seen myself in terms of even just the work I'm absorbing. You know, I've seen my kind of surface area just increasing a lot. I'm seeing the depth increasing a lot. We are putting together this presentation that we'll be making to the company, just kind of giving them an idea of what we do. And I, off the top of my head, could easily fill a slide, you know, with just what the different things are that I'm covering, things that are discrete, things that are important, things that are novel, things that are, you know, really ambiguous and hard to decipher. And I'm the person who's doing a lot of that. And while I still will kind of get in my head and kind of feel overwhelmed sometimes thinking, look, this whole build the plane while you fly it thing is a bit much, you know?
A little get up.
Yeah, I'll still step back and say, yeah, but God, you've given me the ability to do these things. And I just need to trust you. And I know I'm doing my best. I'm not trying to cut corners. And that's enough for me now, you know, where it wasn't before. And then even on a practical level, after Fulfilled, my manager ended up reaching out to me, asking me if I would be interested in this coaching opportunity that the company was giving a select few people, where they would get the chance to just have one-on-one, you know, I guess professional coaching of some sort that's more career oriented and helping you develop as a leader. And I think before I would have wondered, oh, you know, am I worth doing this? You know, is this going to be whatever? I'd come up with all of these excuses for why maybe I shouldn't take this, or maybe I'm not ready for something like that. And no, it was just, no, you're giving me an opportunity. I'm going to take it.
Period.
I'm just absolutely going to take it. Yeah. But what reason would I have for not taking it? So I did it. And I feel like it, you know, just continued. It continued to help me with the mindset. It continued to help me action on places where I was still kind of stuck, you know, words that I was telling myself like, oh, you should have done this. You should have done that. Realizing that my overuse of should was kind of setting me up for presuming failure every time I didn't meet my own kind of internal made up deadlines. You know, just all these little things that really were impactful, I got out of that. And now actually someone else reached out to me over LinkedIn about a networking, not really networking, but a leadership development opportunity. That's a Christian-based development opportunity with people who are high leaders in their companies. And again, before I would have looked and thought, was this a typo? Why am I being what? And now I was just, no, I have to have a conversation with you about this. I want to hear more, you know, and even in the conversation, the first thing they asked me was, tell me about yourself. And my response was actually, since you reached out to me, please tell me about yourself. I would not have done that. Because I don't know if you're a scammer, you get me? Like, I actually need to know that this is, because people who talk about God, they can be of God or they can be of something else. So I need to know what the deal is. But I would not before Fulfilled have ever thought that I could be the one saying, actually, you came to me. So please speak first, you know?
No attitude, we're not angry.
Right. I'm just stating the fact, you know, the fact is I don't know who you are and I need to know that for this conversation. And it was fine. And this person's like 40 plus years older than me, you know, and I had just no problem with just saying, yeah, I need to hear from you first. And we had a great conversation, you know, and I'm exploring it more. And I've been to a couple of sessions and I'm seeing this group and it's been, you know, really helpful. So I'm looking and thinking, okay, this may really be a great next step for me. But all of that it feels like it is coming as a result of the way that Fulfilled has helped me shift myself and shift even just what I'm putting out, you know, just what I'm open to, what I'm allowing kind of to enter into my life.
Oh, man. Actually, you know what I love too is Fulfilled has been this incredible foundation and you keep building on it. You're not like, oh, somebody coached me one time. I got coaching from Isi and her team. Okay, I'm done forever. You're like, more. Let me keep growing. Let me keep growing. How can I keep being better? How can I continue to invest in myself to continue to facilitate this transformation? I stay with the coach. Right now, I have about 3 people I'm working with, and I'm super excited about it because they all do different things. And they're helping me come into the fullness of my calling and my purpose. And I am the most valuable place I could ever invest. A lot of times we spend money on student loans and schools, and a lot of us have $30,000, $40,000 cars and we have no problem. But then it's time for us to invest in ourselves and we lock up. Oh, am I worthy? Am I okay? And the same voice that has cheated you out of going after roles and going after opportunities, it rears its ugly head and says, you're not worthy of this transformation and fulfilled. No, is this really a good idea? I would love you to share with the women who are watching this right now. What would you say to them about investing in themselves, taking that step? Some of them might be like, oh, I don't know if I should come into a program and invest the time, invest the level of resources that Fulfilled calls you to invest, at that level. And I don't know, am I ready to change everything? And this is scary. I've only ever known one way. What would you say to that person?
What comes to mind for me is, look, if you're not sure, just try. Because yes, from a financial perspective, you can lose, right? Sometimes if you invest in something and it doesn't work out, but how many other things in your life have you invested in, right? That may or may not have paid off. Even something as simple as trying a new, cleanser for your face. You're buying it, hoping it works, maybe it doesn't. And if it doesn't, now you tried that and that product isn't for you. You tried relationships, you date a person, 2 dates in, you're like, actually, no, thank you. You couldn't know whether or not that person was for you without actually being willing to step out and try. And I think the biggest reason to actually try when it comes to investing in yourself is because we actually are limitless in our potential, but you will not be able to even begin to tap into that pathway of just existence if you're not willing to try investing in yourself, if you're not willing to bet on yourself. My move to my company, really, that was the first time I really affirmatively said, I'm willing to bet on myself. I was in another place that was not treating me fairly, that was, demeaning me the way that they were speaking to even just my abilities. And I had to really come out of a dark place, jump to this job and say, I'm taking this job because I'm willing to bet that I actually can do this.
Wow. Betting on you.
Yeah.
It's funny actually what you said. We spend money on so many things. I'll never forget the year I was making about 50K and I was wondering, where's all my money going? And I printed out my bank statements. That was before there was Mint and all that. I was doing all those apps. And I highlighted just shopping alone. I said, God, have mercy. I don't even have that many clothes. What is happening? These trips to H&M and Zara, they add up. So even if you look at how much you spent in the past year on food, let's say Uber Eats, grabbing Ubers, your hair, and not say these things are inherently bad, but things that maybe don't have a real ROI and they're gone, Amazon purchases, it's over 10K, easily, not even a question. On looking around your house, literally it's money all around you, things you don't use, things you throw away, things you don't care. Even you could go on a trip with friends, spend maybe $2,000, $3,000. The trip was fun. You come home, that's it.
Yeah, it's done now. Yeah.
But we talk about investing 5, 10,000, 15,000, whatever, in transformative work that will be with you for the rest of your life. And people refuse. And I tell people that is why there are only a few people that win in life. If you think about the population, not everyone wins, not because God didn't give them gifts, talents, strengths, and didn't fill them with purpose and calling. They weren't willing to do what others were not willing to do so that they could live a life that others are not willing and able to live. And it takes the shift, it takes the radical, it takes a lot of times someone holding your hand, because if you knew how to do it, you would have done it by now.
That's it.
If you do it, you would have done it by now, but you don't. And that's okay. That's okay. We all need help. And so I think that conversation, I knew when I made an investment in myself, this investment was like 7K in a program and I didn't have it, but I knew, if you get me in the room with the right help and the right strategy, I'm going to win every single time. And I just couldn't figure out why I was stuck, even though I was so brilliant. I was hardworking. But I was not moving, Ashley. And I said, something has to happen. I'm not taking this. I'm not doing this another year. Put me in the game, coach. I promise you I'll be your star student. And I worked with someone and I indeed became a star student. My life has not been the same. And that was 4 years ago, 3 years. And it's still paying dividends today. So, I mean, it's been an honor coaching you, Ashley. And I think what's really dope is, again, you're a director. You could easily be like, oh, yeah, I don't know if you can really, I don't know if this will really help me. I'm a director. I've been there. I've done that. You came in, you're like, I'm a student. Clearly, I don't know everything, because if I did, I wouldn't feel the way I do. And you came in and you asked questions. You showed up every week, even when things were challenging, even when your butt was being kicked, even when you were tired, you continued. And now you're just soaring, working on different projects, doing different things. And so it has been a blessing and an honor to coach you, honestly.
Thank you. No, the feeling really is mutual. I look now and I feel like sometimes I even take for granted, just ways that my mind has shifted, ways that I can show up and
now.
yeah. And I know it is you, it is fulfilled. It is just what this program has created, because I feel like I've just had my trajectory shifted, and now there are just so many ways that I will approach things differently. I will approach them unhindered. And that's going to be the thing that makes the difference as I am progressing, as I am holding on and saying, God, I know you have big plans for me. I don't know what they are, but I'm trusting that they are big, and therefore I must be climbing.
Yeah. Oh, Ashley, thank you so much. Is there anything else you wanted to share? Anything else on your heart? I think we shared it all, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think we went there. That was rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank
I
you.
mean, yeah.
Sure.
No, I'm very grateful. Grateful.
Thank you so much. We'll be in touch per usual.